Trust me, half people aren't on a time. So what they do is they have their list. If you could look it up, look the docket up and find out pretty much where we're at. But be muted. I can't hear you. You're breaking up.
Good morning. This is courtroom number 1. Today's docket is exclusively landlord-tenant cases. If you do not have a landlord-tenant case, you are likely in the wrong place. You may send a chat or a message to Marianne or Carly. They will help you get where you are supposed to be. Attorneys, if you have filed a dismissal on base today, or you intend to dismiss the case when it is called, please put the case number in the chat. Tenants or defendants, when your case is called, you will need to be unmuted with your video on, prepared to state your name for the record. If you have filed an application for rental assistance, you will have 5 days from today to file a form called a DC 539. Court staff can help you locate that form. Parties, if you receive a message or a pop-up to go into a breakout room, please go there. Gentlemen, remove your caps. If you are driving, please stop driving. If you are eating, please stop eating. At about 9:15, this courtroom will be locked and a video will play that explains the legal rights you have available to you this morning. Thank you.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Today is Wednesday, January 31st. This is courtroom number 1. Today's docket is landlord-tenant cases only. If you do not have a landlord-tenant case, you are likely in the wrong spot, and you may send a chat or a message to Mary Ann. She will help you get where you need to be. Attorneys, if you filed a dismissal in OnBase today, or you intend to dismiss the case when it is called, please put the case number in the chat. Tenants or defendants, when your case is called, you will need to be unmuted with your video on and prepare to state your name for the record. If you have filed an application for rental assistance, you will have 5 days from today to file a form called a DC 539. There is court staff available this morning to help you locate that form and get it filed. All parties, if you receive an invitation or message to go into a breakout room, please go there. In about 4 minutes, this courtroom will be locked. There will be a video that will be played that explains the legal rights available to you this morning. Thank you. Good morning. This is courtroom number one. My name is Judge Martin. Today's docket is landlord-tenant cases. If you do not have a landlord-tenant case, you may be in the wrong place. You may send a chat or message to Mary Ann. She will help you get where you need to be. Attorneys, if you filed your dismissal on base this morning, or you intend to dismiss your case today when it's called, please put the case number in the chat so that we may remove it from the docket and release your tenants. Defendants, tenants, if you have made an application for rental assistance, you will have 5 days from today's date to file a form called a DC 539. There is court staff available to help you locate that form and get it filed with the court. After the short video that plays momentarily that explains your rights this morning, each case will be called. You will be expected to be unmuted, have your video on, and state your name for the record. If you receive a message or a pop-up to go into a breakout room, please go there. If you are driving, stop driving. If you're eating, stop eating. If you are smoking, stop smoking. Mary Ann.
Fourth District Court. Please listen carefully for information about your rights and resources that may be available to assist you. Please have paper and a pen handy. You have the right to hire an attorney to represent you. If you cannot afford to hire an attorney, you may qualify for legal aid assistance. There may be a representative from Lakeshore Legal Aid available today to speak with you, or you can contact them at 888-783-8190. You have the right to have your case heard in the proper venue. If the property is not located in the 34th District, you can ask the court to transfer your case to the district where the property, or any part of it, is located. You have the right to demand a jury trial. If you want a jury trial, you must tell the court today or make the demand in writing within 5 days of today's hearing. You can use Form MC-22 Jury Demand and file it with the court. You must pay $50 when you make your demand, or within 5 days of the court advising you of this right. You do not have to pay the jury fee if you have asked the court to waive fees and the court has approved your request under MCR 2.002. If your landlord has asked for you to be evicted from a residential property because you haven't paid rent, you may be able to get assistance from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, MDHHS, a local coordinated entry agency, a housing assessment and resource agency, or a federal Help for Homeless Veterans program. You should have received information on local rental and housing assistance with the summons. You do not need a judgment against you to receive help from the places listed above. A copy of the summons and complaint from your case are enough. If your case is for non-payment and you have already applied for assistance from one of these agencies, be sure to let the court clerk or the judge know when your case is called. You will be required to submit written proof to the court within 5 days of today's hearing. Your landlord-tenant case can be resolved in a number of ways. You may be able to reach an agreement with the landlord by going through a Michigan or local community dispute resolution program. You can find a program at courts.my.gov/CDRP. You may also reach an agreement with the landlord that will mean the case gets dismissed. A conditional dismissal is possible when approved by all parties. You can use Form DC 508, Consent Order for Conditional Dismissal, Landlord-Tenant, and file it with the court. Information about your other rights and the legal process is available through Michigan Legal Help at www.michiganlegalhelp.org. Additional information on legal resources, housing assistance programs, and court forms are available on our website at www.mi34thdistrictcourt.com/department/civil. Thank you for your attention. Your case will be called shortly.
This is 2400290LT Parkwood Manor versus Denisha Hardman. Please state your names for the record.
Dana Hull on behalf of Parkwood.
Ma'am,
Yes.
state
Good
your
morning.
name, please.
Oh, my name is Danisha Hartman.
Thank you. Ms. Hartman, have you made an application for rental assistance?
No, I have not. I spoke with my landlord and we came to agreement, a payment agreement.
Ms. Hall, are you aware of any agreement?
I am not. I can double check my email really quick to make
Miss
sure.
Ms. Hardiman, what will happen now is you will be moved into a breakout room. Ms. Hall will be there shortly to discuss it with you. If there is in fact an agreement, you will come back into this main session and that agreement will be placed on the record, okay?
Okay.
Thank you. This is 2400296 LT Swan Creek versus Angel Brown. Please state your names for the record.
Good morning, Your Honor. Attorney
Hey.
Elizabeth Ellison, P 82098 for the plaintiff.
Angel Brown, Swan Creek.
Thank you. Ms. Brown, have you made an application for rental assistance?
Yes.
With what agency, please?
My Bridges.
Ms. Brown, your case will be adjourned to February the 13th at 10 a.m. You will have 5 days from today's date to file a form that's called a 539. You'll be moved into a breakout room right now with court staff to help you
Okay.
locate that form and get it submitted to the court. When you return on February 13th, you will be expected to provide an update regarding that application for rental assistance, okay?
Okay.
Do you have any questions, Ms. Brown?
No.
Thank you. Please file that invitation to go speak to court staff regarding that 539 form. Have a good day and good luck to you. 2400302 LT Swan Creek versus Bartouche, Crystal Bartouche and Sean Bartouche.
Good morning, Your Honor. Attorney Elizabeth Ellison, P 82098 for the plaintiff.
Ms. Ellison, this case was scheduled at 9 o'clock. It's now 9:23 by the court's clock. There is posting and there's court mail. Defendants are not responding to the call. How would you like to proceed this morning?
Your Honor, at this time, since we did do the additional mailing, I would ask for a default judgment. Your Honor, I apologize. I'm just trying to pull up their file. I would ask for a default judgment in this matter. Current rent due and owing is $1,516.41. That's actually inclusive of court costs, Your Honor, so I need to delete that out and give you the breakdown.
If that's the total 151641, that's what the court staff will be expecting.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. 2400304 LT Swan Creek versus Christopher Stewart.
Good morning, Your Honor. Attorney Elizabeth Ellison, P 82098 for the plaintiff.
Christopher Stewart. Today was the day and time scheduled for the first hearing in this matter. Ms. Ellison, the court notes that there is posting and mail by the plaintiff and an additional mail by the court. Case was scheduled at 9 o'clock. It's 9:23. Defendant has failed to appear. How would you like to proceed?
Your Honor, in light of the second mailing by the court, I think we're entitled to a default judgment. So I would request a default judgment, and the total balance inclusive of court costs, Your Honor, is $1,540.86.
I'm sorry, did you say 1503?
1,540.86, Your Honor.
40, thank you. Please submit your default judgment in that amount. This is 2400307 LT Swan Creek versus Carrie Walrath and Caitlin Zeck. Ms. Ellison, the court notes your appearance for the record.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Hi, Carrie Walrath. Caitlin Zach.
Good morning. Have you made an application for rental assistance?
I actually, I did start the application process on, My Bridges. I just haven't completed it. I got to the part where, it needed my income information. I just didn't have my daughter with me at the time, so we could do our combined income. So I just have to
Then,
complete
ma'am-
the application.
Thank you. Then your case will be adjourned over to February 13th at 10 a.m. You will have 5 days from today's date to submit the form DC 539 with the court. You will be moved into a breakout room right now. Court staff will be available to help you access that form. When you return on February 13th, you will be expected to provide an update regarding the status of your application with My Bridges. Do you have any questions this morning?
No, that's fine. That's fine.
Thank you. Please follow the pop-up to speak with court staff. This is 2400313LT. This is Pinewood Circle versus Jake Pryor. Jake Pryor. This case was scheduled at 9 o'clock, is now 9:26 by the court's clock. There is no response from either Mr. Katz or Mr. Pryor. Unless there's some other update in the court system, this matter will be dismissed for a failure of the parties to appear. There is court mailing. There is no proof of service filed by the plaintiff's office for posting, personal service, or for mail. 2400317LT Bell Villa Meadows versus James Profit.
Good morning, Your Honor. Attorney Elizabeth Ellison, P820984, for the plaintiff.
James Profit. This case was scheduled at 9 o'clock, is now 9:26 by the court's clock. Mr. Profit has failed to appear. The court shows posting and mail by the plaintiff with the additional court mail. Ms. Ellison, how would you like to proceed this morning?
Your Honor, in light of the additional posting by the court, I would request a default judgment. Currently due and owing, inclusive of court costs, Your Honor, is $872 even.
Thank you. Please submit that default judgment. This
Thank
is 2400320LT Pinewood Circle versus Patricia Young.
I'm here.
Ma'am,
Yes.
turn your video on, please, and state your name.
How do I turn the video? Okay. It keeps saying unable to access. Oh, God.
Ma'am, state your name for me, please.
Patricia Young.
Ms. Young, have you made an application for rental assistance?
No.
How did you intend to resolve this non-payment of rent case, ma'am?
Well, I had emergency surgery, so I was gonna pay them $1,000 Friday, another 1,000 on the 15th. I did request my papers for my disability insurance, but I have to get them
Ms.
filled out.
Young, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Ms. Young, I'm going to interrupt you for one moment. We don't see the attorney for Pinewood Circle here. Mary Ann, would you unlock to see if Mr. Katz is maybe waiting to be admitted?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Ms. Young, this case was scheduled at 9 o'clock. It's now 9:28 by the court's clock. It does not appear that plaintiff's attorney has arrived. We can proceed in one of two ways. This case may be dismissed for his failure to appear, or we can adjourn it over to February the 13th. What is your pleasure, ma'am?
To be dismissed.
I'm sorry? Yes, ma'am. He's not appeared this morning.
Okay, to be dismissed.
This case is dismissed, ma'am. You're free to go. You have a good day.
Thanks, you too.
Okay.
This is 2400321LT Metro Commons versus Fallon Dorsey and Tyree Dorsey.
Good morning, Your Honor. Attorney Elizabeth Ellison, P820984, for the plaintiff.
Dorsey, this case was scheduled at 9 o'clock, is now 9:29 by the court's clock. Defendants having failed to appear, the court showing, excuse me, posting and mailing by the plaintiff, and an additional court mailing. Ms. Ellison, how would you like to proceed?
Your Honor, in light of the additional mailing, I would request an entry of a default judgment. Your Honor, I'm showing rent to retain is $1,607.66. That does not include court costs, so let me give you that right now. Your Honor, and then I'm showing court costs in the amount of $215.32. So we're requesting $1,822.96 as the judgment amount.
Thank you, ma'am. Please submit your default judgment.
Will
This
do,
is
Your Honor.
2400333 LT Belleville Metals versus Kathleen Stevenson.
Attorney Elizabeth Walker for the
Kathleen
plaintiff.
Stevenson.
Ms. Stevenson, have you made an application for rental assistance?
No.
Would you like to speak to a representative from Lakeshore Legal Aid this morning?
No.
Would you like the opportunity to speak to Ms. Ellison, the representative for Belleville?
Yes.
Then we'll get you moved into the breakout room. Ms. Ellison will be there shortly to discuss your case with you.
Thank you.
Thank you. This is 2400. Ms. Ellison, I think that's it for you.
That is my last one, was a dismissal, and I had told the court staff. Thank you, Your
Thank
Honor.
you. 2400322 LT Pinewood Circle versus Valerie Slade, SLADE. This case was scheduled at 9 o'clock. It's now 9:31 by the court's clock. Neither party have appeared. This case will be dismissed. This is 2400324 LT Pinewood Circle versus Machandria Scales. This case was scheduled at 9 o'clock. It's now 9:31 by the court's clock. Neither party has appeared. This case will be dismissed. This is 2400327 LT Pinewood Circle versus Randy Lyle, Lyell. This case was scheduled at 9 o'clock. It's now 9:32 a.m. by the court's clock. Neither party has appeared. This case will be dismissed. This is 2400328 LT Pinewood Circle versus Lanisha Barksdale. This case was scheduled at 9 o'clock. It's now 9:32 by the court's clock. Neither party has appeared. This case will be dismissed. This is 2400329 LT Pinewood Circle versus Alicia Higgins. This case was scheduled at 9 o'clock. It's now 9:32 a.m. by the court's clock. Neither party has appeared. This case will be dismissed. This is 2400430 LT Pinewood Circle versus Carmisha Skinner. This case was scheduled at 9 o'clock. It's now 9:33 by the court's clock. Neither party has appeared. This case will be dismissed. Mr. George, are you here for intake or do you have something on the docket this morning?
Just here for intake, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ms. Terman, 2400310 LT Belleville versus Terman.
Good morning, Jonelle Terman.
Good morning, ma'am. The court received a message from the attorney this morning that this matter was being dismissed.
Okay. Thank
You have a good day. You're free to go.
You too. Everybody be safe.
Thank you. No contact from Mr. Katz?
I haven't heard.
One of my colleagues did say that they saw him in Pontiac a few minutes ago. Pontiac Court, that is. So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe he intended his cases to be dismissed this morning.
Thank you, Mr. George.
you go. Feel better? Feel better?
This is a recall of 2400333LT Belvilla versus Stevenson. The parties have had the opportunity to speak. Ms. Ellison, how are we proceeding?
Your Honor, we have agreed to a consent judgment and we're ready to place the terms on the record.
Please proceed.
This is we filed this as a possession judgment, Your Honor. Rent to retain is $1,522, cost of $160, the balance being $1,682 to be paid on or before February the 12th of 2024. I did explain that if they move money damages, they could be liable for money damages. Acceptance of partial payment will not prevent the order of eviction and no money judgment is entered at this time. Additionally, Your Honor, I let them know their rights under 4.201J now, that they have 3 days to set aside the consent judgment. They both gave me their permission to sign and submit. Kathleen is there and then Mr. Poberski is an occupant.
Thank you. Ms. Stevenson, were you able to hear Ms. Ellison just now?
Yes, ma'am.
And ma'am, you were present when the court played the video regarding your rights this morning,
Yes, ma'am.
and you understood those rights.
Yes, ma'am.
And you wish to enter a consent judgment that indicates that as of today, there is back due rent of $1,522. Plaintiff is requesting $160 in cost for a total of $1,682.
Yes, ma'am.
And you've authorized Ms. Ellison to sign your name to a consent judgment that indicates that you will pay that amount or vacate the property by February the 12th, 2024.
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, Ms. Stevenson, do you have any questions regarding your rights or today's proceedings?
No, ma'am.
Then Ms. Ellison will prepare that consent judgment submitted to the court by electronic filing. I will sign it and a copy will be mailed to you at the address we have on record. Other than that, you're free to go. You have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
too.
Thank you. This is a recall of 2400290LT Parkwood Manor versus Denisha Hardman. The parties have had the opportunity to speak. Ms. Hall, how are we proceeding this morning?
Your Honor, we would like to request a brief adjournment. We just have a slight discrepancy as to the ledger. I think we'll come to an agreement before or by the time we come back. But
Is that correct, Ms. Hardman?
Yes.
Ms. Hall, how brief is brief?
I think 1 week would be fine. She just needs to go to the office and go over the ledger with the property manager.
We have a next date of, I think we might be able to get you in on February the 7th. And give me a moment, check our schedule, see what. Ms. Hall, let's say 9:45 on February the 7th. Ms. Hardiman, if you reach some agreement with them before that date, the parties are able to reduce it to writing and file it with the court, okay?
Okay.
Do you have any questions this morning, Ms. Hardiman?
No.
Thank you. Ma'am, that concludes this matter. You're free to exit that room you're in through that door on your left.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Have a good day.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Marianne, it looks as if our breakout rooms are empty. I will take that to mean that the 9 o'clock docket is complete. Good morning. Today is Wednesday, January 31st. I am Judge Martin, and this is courtroom number 1. Today's docket is exclusively landlord-tenant cases. If you do not have a landlord-tenant case, you may be in the wrong courtroom. You may send a chat to Mary Ann. She will help you get where you need to be. Attorneys, if you have filed a dismissal in on base today or intend to dismiss the case when it is called, please put the case number in the chat. Tenants or defendants, when your case is called, you will need to be unmuted with your video on and prepare to state your name for the record. If you have made an application for rental assistance, you will need to file a form called a DC 539. There is court staff available that will help you locate that form and get it filed with the court. All parties, if you receive a message or a pop-up to join a breakout room, please go there. Court staff is waiting to speak to you. If you are smoking, stop smoking. If you are driving, stop driving. If you are eating, stop eating. At approximately 10:15, this courtroom will be locked and there will be a short video that plays to explain your legal rights available this morning. There are also representatives here from Lakeshore Legal Aid for tenants who might want to have the opportunity to speak to an attorney. Please be patient. We will start shortly. Good morning. This is courtroom number 1. I am Judge Martin. Today's docket is exclusively landlord-tenant cases. If you do not have a landlord-tenant case, you may be in the wrong courtroom. You may send a chat or message to Mary Ann. She will help you locate where you should be. Attorneys, if you have filed a dismissal and on base this morning or intend to dismiss the case when it is called, please put the case number in the chat. Defendants or tenants, when your case is called, you would need to be unmuted with your video on and prepared to state your name for the record. If you have filed an application for rental assistance, you will need to file a form called a DC 539 within 5 days of today's date. There are court staff available to assist you locating that form and getting it filed. All parties, if you receive a message or a pop-up to go into a breakout room, please go there. We will be locking this courtroom at approximately 10:15. There will be a short video that plays that explains your legal rights available this morning. After that video is played, every case will be called and you will have the opportunity to speak to a representative from Lakeshore Legal Aid or the attorney for your landlord. If you're driving, stop driving. If you're eating, stop eating. If you're smoking, stop smoking. Marianne, if you would be kind enough to lock the courtroom. There will be a short video that plays in just a moment that explains the legal rights you have available to you this morning. After the video ends, I will begin calling cases. When your case is called, the attorney will state their name first, and then you will state your name for the record. Marianne.
Welcome to the 34th District Court. Please listen carefully for information about your rights and resources that may be available to assist you. Please have paper and a pen handy. You have the right to hire an attorney to represent you. If you cannot afford to hire an attorney, you may qualify for legal aid assistance. There may be a representative from Lakeshore Legal Aid available today to speak with you, or you can contact them at 888-783-8190. You have the right to have your case heard in the proper venue. If the property is not located in the 34th District, you can ask the court to transfer your case to the district where the property, or any part of it, is located. You have the right to demand a jury trial. If you want a jury trial, you must tell the court today or make the demand in writing within 5 days of today's hearing. You can use Form MC-22 Jury Demand and file it with the court. You must pay $50 when you make your demand, or within 5 days of the court advising you of this right. You do not have to pay the jury fee if you have asked the court to waive fees and the court has approved your request under MCR 2.002. If your landlord has asked for you to be evicted from a residential property because you haven't paid rent, you may be able to get assistance from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, MDHHS, a local coordinated entry agency, a housing assessment and resource agency, or a federal Help for Homeless Veterans program. You should have received information on local rental and housing assistance with the summons. You do not need a judgment against you to receive help from the places listed above. A copy of the summons and complaint from your case are enough. If your case is for non-payment and you have already applied for assistance from one of these agencies, be sure to let the court clerk or the judge know when your case is called. You will be required to submit written proof to the court within 5 days of today's hearing. Your landlord-tenant case can be resolved in a number of ways. You may be able to reach an agreement with the landlord by going through a Michigan or local community dispute resolution program. You can find a program at courts.my.gov/CDRP. You may also reach an agreement with the landlord that will mean the case gets dismissed. A conditional dismissal is possible when approved by all parties. You can use Form DC-508, Consent Order for Conditional Dismissal, Landlord-Tenant, and file it with the court. Information about your other rights and the legal process is available through Michigan Legal Help at www.michiganlegalhelp.org. Additional information on legal resources, housing assistance programs, and court forms are available on our website at www.mi34thdistrictcourt.com/department/civil. Thank you for your attention. Your case will be called shortly.
Good morning, 2303220LT, Southrop Partners versus Cash Cold Creations.
Good morning, Your Honor. Attorney Elizabeth Ellison, P82098 for the plaintiff.
Sir, would you state your name, please?
Sorry, I'm Darius Pringle with Keystar Creations.
Thank you. This matter was adjourned from Judge Oakley's docket. Ms. Ellison, where do we stand this morning?
Your Honor, there's still rent and due and owing. I haven't had a chance to speak to him. This is a commercial lease. I'm happy to go in a breakout room with him.
Understood. The court did receive a message from Mr. Pringle indicating that payment was made in this matter. Please go into the breakout room with Ms. Ellison, Mr. Pringle.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. This is 2400335LT, Green Metals versus Ryan Brown.
Hello, Your Honor, Sandra Jacuzzi on behalf of plaintiff.
Thank you, ma'am. This matter was scheduled at 10 o'clock. It's now 10:20 by the court's clock. The court shows posting and mailing by the plaintiff and an additional mailing by the court defendant. Having failed to appear this morning, how would you like to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor, we are requesting a default possession judgment. Rent to retain is $975, cost of $190.24 for a total balance of $1,165.24 with a writ to issue after 10 days.
Thank you. Please submit your default judgment. This is 2400336 LT Green Metals versus Cooper.
Sandra Jacuzzi on behalf of the plaintiff.
Hi, I'm here.
Ma'am, state your name, please.
I'm sorry, Tisha Cooper.
Thank you. Ms. Cooper, have you made an application for rental assistance?
No, I didn't know I could. I thought I was gonna be able to get the money before now.
Ma'am, would you like an opportunity to speak to an attorney from Lakeshore Legal Aid?
Yes, or try to talk to them about if they're able to talk to the rent, the rental property to see if they're able to accept the payment and by a
Ma'am,
certain date.
Lakeshore, I'm sorry,
sorry.
Lakeshore Legal Aid
Yes,
is
ma'am.
here to assist you. Would you like to speak to them or would you like to speak to the attorney for your landlord?
Attorney for my landlord, please.
We'll get you moved into a breakout room. I'm sorry.
Okay, no, okay, that's fine. Thank you.
No, Ms. Cooper, I was speaking over you. What were you saying?
I said I've never had to go through one of these, so I don't know like what I'm supposed to do. I'm trying to pay it because I don't want to have to move, but I don't know. Do I supposed to talk to legal aid or am I supposed to talk to the attorney?
It's your choice. And I hope that everyone else in this session is listening because the questions will be the same to them. Oh,
Yep,
Miss,
I'm gonna pull her back out.
no, that's okay.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Morton, are you going in to speak to her?
Yes, I am, Your Honor. I'm going to go speak with
If
Ms.
Mr. George is here with other representatives from his office, if she wants to speak to legal aid.
I'll make sure to clarify that to her as well, Your Honor.
Thank you. And there's someone who is actively driving. I will pass that case for now. This is 2400340 LT Green Metals versus Paulette Stanley.
Sandra Jacuzzi on behalf of plaintiff.
Ms. Stanley, this case was scheduled at 10 o'clock. It's now 10:22 by the court's clock. The court shows posting and mail by the plaintiff and additional mail from the court. Defendant has failed to appear. How would you like to proceed?
Your Honor, we are requesting a default possession judgment. Rent to retain is $1,439.65. Cost of $190.24 for a total balance of $1,629.89 with a writ to issue after 10 days.
Thank you, ma'am. Please submit your default judgment. This is 2400342 LT Rawsonville Woods versus James Arquette.
Sandra Jacuzzi on behalf of plaintiff.
James Arquette. Ms. Cousy, review of the file show a mailing by the court, but no posting or mail from the plaintiff as of yesterday afternoon.
Your Honor, we may pass on this matter so I can confirm and then go back on the record. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. There are a couple more like that. This is 2400343 LT Rawsonville Woods versus Jonathan Bessinger. Ms. Cousy, same thing in this file. I'm sorry, we show court mailing, but no posting or personal service from the plaintiff and no mailing by the plaintiff.
Yes, Your Honor, I will review that. If we could just pass on that too.
Yes, ma'am. 2400345 LT Rawsonville Woods versus Kiana Bentley and Christina Taylor.
Sandra Jacuzzi on behalf of plaintiff.
Hi, my name is Kiana Bentley.
My name is Christina Taylor.
Thank you, Ms. Bentley and Ms. Taylor. Have you made an application for rental assistance?
Not yet.
Would you like the opportunity to speak to either Lakeshore Legal Aid or your landlord's attorney?
My landlord's attorney, please.
You'll be moved into a breakout room. You'll have the opportunity to speak to a representative from Rawsonville Woods momentarily, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. This is 2400348LT Rawsonville Woods versus Heidi Britton.
Nancy Kuzi on behalf of plaintiff.
Heidi Britton. Case was scheduled at 10 o'clock. Again, Ms. Kuzi, court shows court mail, but no posting, personal service, or mail from the plaintiff. I'll pass this matter.
Thank you, Your Honor.
2400350LT Rawsonville Woods versus Kevon Casey.
Nancy Kuzi on behalf of plaintiff.
Same thing, no posting or personal from the plaintiff and no mailing by the plaintiff. 2400351LT Rawsonville Woods versus Samantha Coleman.
Nancy Kuzi on behalf of plaintiff.
Court mail, but no posting or personal or mailing from the plaintiff. 2400355LT Rawsonville Woods versus Tony Davis.
Nancy Kuzi on behalf of plaintiff.
Tony Davis. Same thing, court mail, but no posting, personal service, or mailing from the plaintiff, Kevon Casey. Unmute yourself, turn your video on, and state your name for me, please.
Kevon Casey.
Thank you. Ms. Casey, the court called the case and didn't get a response. I then saw your chat. Ma'am, have you made an application for rental assistance?
Not yet.
Would you like the opportunity to speak to Lakeshore Legal Aid or an attorney for your landlord?
No, not at this time.
Not at this time. Speak to either one.
I mean, I can speak to the rental office for the landlord.
Then, Ms. Casey, you'll see an invitation to go into a breakout room. There will be someone there to speak to you momentarily. 2400357LT Rawsonville Woods versus David Dorner.
Nancy Kuzi on behalf of plaintiff.
There's court mail, but no posting or personal or mail from the plaintiff. I'll pass this matter, Ms. Kuzi. This is 2400358LT Rawsonville Woods versus Nikki Ellington and Savannah Ellington.
Nancy Kuzi on behalf of plaintiff.
I thought I saw Ellington.
Yes, there was one here.
Ms. Kuzi, we'll pass this matter. I'm not sure what happened. This is 2400362LT Rawsonville Woods versus Doran Garcia.
Nancy Kuzi on behalf of plaintiff.
Doran Garcia.
Mr. Garcia, have you made an application for rental assistance?
I will today after this.
Then, sir, you will have 5 days from today to submit a DC 539 with the court. There's court staff available to assist you in locating that form and getting it filed. Your case will be adjourned over to February the 13th at 10 a.m. Do you need assistance in locating that form?
Yes.
Then you'll see an invitation to go into a breakout room. You'll meet with a member of the court staff. They'll help you locate that form. I will see you on the 13th. On that date, please be prepared to provide an update regarding your application. This is 2400367LT Rawsonville Woods versus Laditra Jackson.
Nancy Kuzi on behalf of plaintiff.
Jackson here, Your Honor.
Ma'am, would you state your name for me, please?
Laditra Jackson.
Ms. Jackson, have you made an application for rental assistance?
I will be doing that this afternoon.
Then, ma'am, just as in the case before you, you will have 5 days from today's date to file a form called a DC 539. There's court staff available this morning that will help you locate that form and get it filed. Your case will be adjourned to February the 13th at 10 a.m. On that day, please be prepared to provide an update or status of that application for rental assistance. Ma'am, do you need staff assistance in locating the form that needs to be submitted?
Yes, Your Honor, and could I still speak to the attorneys for the property?
Yes, ma'am. When you go in and meet with court staff, let them know that you want to be moved into a space to speak to the attorneys after you're done with the staff, okay?
Okay, very well, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson. Ms. Gist, if you're somewhere where you can stop driving and give the court your attention, we'll call your matter. Are you stationary, ma'am, or are you still driving? You're muted. Ms. Cooper, did you have the opportunity to speak to someone from?
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. This is 2400336 LT. Did you reach an agreement with Mr. Morton?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, I think in terms of that agreement.
Thank you, ma'am.
The rent to retain it's a consent judgment. Rent to retain is $3,302.91. Cost of $190.24 for a total balance of $3,493.15 to be paid on or before February 23, 2024. And the balance that's due and owing includes February 2024 rental charges, Your Honor.
Ms. Cooper, were you able to hear Ms. Kuzi just now?
Yes, ma'am.
And ma'am, you were present when the video played explaining your rights this morning.
Yes, ma'am.
And you wish to waive those rights and enter a consent judgment that indicates that there's rent due of $3,302.91, court cost of $190.24 for a total judgment of $3,493.15.
Yes, ma'am.
And you understand that that a consent judgment will indicate that you will pay that amount or vacate the property by February 23rd.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Cooper, do you have any questions about your rights this morning or these proceedings?
No, ma'am.
Because you appear on Zoom, there's not a signed agreement. Have you authorized the Palace Law Firm to sign your name to the agreement, the consent judgment that was just placed on the record?
Yes.
Then their office will prepare a consent judgment with the terms just placed on the record. They will submit it to the court electronically. I will sign it and a copy will be mailed to you at the address we have on record. Do you have any questions, Ms. Cooper?
No, I don't.
Ma'am, that concludes this case. You're free to go. You have a good day. Good luck to you.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you. This is a recall of 2303220 LT, Southrop versus Crush Cold Creations. I have your appearances already. Ms. Ellison, how are we proceeding this morning?
Your Honor, I had a chance to speak to Mr. Pringle. We discussed, he does agree that he has a rental balance, and we're going to enter into a consent judgment. whereby the rent to retain possession, Your Honor, is $3,974.09. Court costs of $172.66, the balance being $4,146.75 to be paid on or before February the 14th of 2024, Your Honor. This is no money judgment, possession only. Number 10 in the order, he is going to ask the property manager to give him a breakdown of fees from November, and if anything was double charged, which I did not see it was, but if it was double charged, it will be credited according to his to the balance in D, Your Honor. I did explain his rights under MCR 4.201J. He gave me permission to sign and submit, Your Honor.
Okay,
Thank you. Mr. Pringle, this shows as a business. Are you represented by an attorney this morning?
No, ma'am.
What's your relationship to Crest Cole Creations?
Owner.
I'm sorry?
Owner.
Is there a reason why you don't have an attorney here with you this morning, sir?
No, ma'am.
Mr. Pringle, you've had the opportunity to speak to Ms. Ellison. You heard the terms of a consent judgment that she placed on the record. Was that your understanding?
Yes.
And that's how you wish to proceed?
Yes.
Were you present when the video was played explaining your legal rights this morning?
Yes.
Do you have any questions about the rights detailed in that video?
No.
Do you understand these proceedings this morning, sir?
Yes.
And everything Ms. Ellison said was true and accurate?
Yes.
Her office will prepare a consent judgment with the terms placed on the record. They will email it to the court. The court will sign it, and a copy will be mailed to you at the address we have on record. Do you have any questions at all this morning, Mr. Pringle?
No, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. That concludes this matter. You're free to go. You have a good day. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. This is a
Okay,
recall of 2400358LT, Rawsonville Woods versus Nikki Ellington and Savannah Ellington.
I thought you was calling me, yes.
Ms. Ellington, your name, please?
Nikki Ellington. And
And
Savannah,
Ms. I'm sorry.
Savannah is in the Army. She's not able to attend this.
Thank you, ma'am. Have you made an application for rental assistance?
No, I just spoke with the landlord and we made an agreement that she would get full payment on the 6th, and she was fine with that.
I'm sorry, ma'am, you made an agreement with the landlord?
To make my payment in full on 6th of February.
You're actually allowed more time than that by law.
Oh, I didn't know
Ms.
that.
Kuzi, have you spoken with Ms. Ellington, or do you know what this agreement is?
Your Honor, I have not. If you could put her in a breakout room, if she agrees, I can have someone speak to, or I'll speak to her and see if she did speak to the landlord and move forward from there.
Ms. Ellington?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay, we'll send you an invitation to go into that breakout room. You'll meet with a representative from Palace Law Firm. This is 2400337LT Green Metals versus Gist.
Andrew Kuzi on behalf of the plaintiff.
Ma'am? Ma'am?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. State your name for me, please.
Nikki Lynn Gist?
Ms. Gist, have you made an application for rental assistance?
No.
Would you like the opportunity to speak to a representative from Lakeshore Legal Aid or the attorney for your landlord?
No.
Ma'am, how do you wish to proceed this morning?
Okay, I will have January rent tomorrow, but by my job, we instead of getting paid every week, they done changed it till we get paid every 2 weeks. So I will have February rent in 2 weeks. I just paid the late fee for February.
So Ms. Gist, do you want to put this matter over for 2 weeks to the 13th? Or do you want to go into a breakout room and speak to a representative from your landlord?
Okay, we can do that, because like I said, tomorrow I will have January rent, but February rent is due tomorrow, but that's gonna be 2 weeks late, because I get paid every 2 weeks now.
Ma'am, I heard you. My question was, did you want to adjourn this case to the 13th of February? Or do you want to speak to a representative from your landlord right now?
Okay, we can adjourn it to the 13th.
February 13th at 10 a.m. If you
Okay.
paid in full in the meantime or reach some other agreement with the landlord, there's a way to reduce that to writing, okay?
Okay,
Anything else this morning, Ms. Gist?
no, that's it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Go back to work. Have a good day.
Okay.
Ms. Casey, this is a recall of 2400350 LT. Ma'am, you've had the opportunity to speak to a representative from Rawsonville Woods.
Yes,
Did you reach an agreement?
yes.
Ms.
Your
Kuzi,
Honor.
that agreement.
Yes, there was a consent judgment. Rent to retain is $2,677.39. Cost of $190.24 for a total balance of $2,867.63, which includes February rental charges to be paid on or before February 20, 2024.
Ms. Casey, were you here when the video played explaining the rights you had available to you this morning?
Yes, ma'am.
And ma'am, you wish to waive those rights and enter a consent judgment today, agreeing that there is $2,677.39 due in rent, $190.24 in court costs, for a total judgment of $2,867.63.
Yes,
And ma'am, you agree to pay this amount or vacate the property by February 20th, 2024.
yes,
And ma'am, you've authorized the plaintiff's office to sign your name to that consent judgment?
yes.
Ma'am, do you have any questions about this agreement?
I know he said something about when that time comes, when on the 20th, that I could possibly get more time if I'm not prepared on that specific date.
I'm sorry, say that again, please.
He said something about more time being available. If and when the 20th of February comes and I'm not, prepared or have all the money at that time for both payments for January and February.
Ms. Kuzi?
Your Honor, if you can have her be put back in the breakout room to speak to Ian in regarding to that matter, or you could try to speak to the landlord and see if they're willing to give you additional time past that 20th. However, there was just an agreement, but you can go back into the breakout room and speak with Ian if you're not in agreement to the 20th.
But Ms. Casey, was his comment to you that you would be allowed more time, or did he explain how more time would be made available?
No, he just said that was a possibility, basically.
That's the date of the judgment that we had, the February 20th date. That would be something that you need to speak to the landlord and see if they're willing to give you past that date for the judgment. But we would have no authority to extend that date past the 20th after this judgment.
Okay.
Ms. Kuzi, when you submit the consent judgment, indicate on there that partial payment will prevent a writ. Ms. Casey, the court has concern that there is an implied agreement. So if it's not contained on the consent judgment, if there's not some indication that you will be granted more time, the court is asking that that the plaintiff would have to do additional things. If you have not paid that full $2,867.63 by February 20th, they would have to come back to the court to ask to take the next step to have you removed. Does that make sense to you, ma'am?
Yes,
Do you have any questions, Ms. Casey?
I don't.
Thank you. That concludes this matter, ma'am. You're free to go. You have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Cousy, for the cases that you do not have service on, I know that we've been on the record most of the time. Have you been able to investigate, or do you need to step away to investigate these cases?
Yes, Your Honor, I do have a copy of the proof of service. It looks like our office may have not submitted those. There is a proof of service that we will e-file if when we submit the judgment, and service was completed by the court officer on January 26, 2024.
On all of the cases that we discussed?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, then let's do this, Ms. Cousy. Let's go back to them so we can put the proposed defaults on. 2400342 LT. This was Rawsonville versus Arquette. Ms. Cousy, if your office would present the proof of mailing and the posting showing service as prescribed in the court rule, the court will grant the request for default judgment. What is the rent to retain and cost, please?
Rent to retain is $772.33, cost of $190.24, for a total balance of $962.57 to be paid on or before within the 10 days.
Thank you, ma'am. 2400343 LT Rawsonville versus Biesinger. Same thing, ma'am. If your office is able to present proofs that service was made as prescribed in the court rule, the court will grant the default judgment in this matter as the defendant has failed to appear.
Yes, Your Honor, we are requesting a default possession judgment. Rent to retain is $1,431.46, cost of $190.24, for a total balance of $1,621.70, with a date after 10 days.
Thank you. Ms. Jackson is back. That was 2400367 LT Rawsonville versus Laditra Jackson. Ms. Jackson, you have the opportunity to speak to Mr. Morton. Did you reach some agreement with him?
Yes, Your Honor.
I'm sorry?
Yes, I did.
Did you reach some agreement with Mr. Morton, or are you returning on the 13th?
I reached an agreement with Mr. Morton.
Ms. Cousy?
Yes, Your Honor. They did come to a consent judgment. Rent to retain is $2,860.47, cost of $160.24, for a total balance of $3,020.71 to be paid on or before February 20, 2024. He did advise her of her rights under MCR 4.201, and he got her permission to sign her name onto the judgment.
Ms. Jackson, were you able to hear Ms. Cousy just now?
Yes.
And ma'am, is that the agreement that you reached with Mr. Morton?
Yes.
And were you present this morning when the video was played explaining the rights you had available?
Yes.
And ma'am, you're waiving those rights and entering the consent judgment with the terms?
Yes.
Do you have any questions about this morning's proceedings?
No, Your Honor.
Do you have any questions about your legal rights in this matter?
No, Your Honor.
Ma'am, the Palace Law Firm will prepare a consent judgment that shows that a total of $3,020.71 is owing, that you will pay this amount of vacay by February 20th. They will sign your name to it, submit it to the court electronically. I will sign it, and a copy will be mailed to you at the address we have on file. Do you have any questions, Ms. Jackson?
No.
That concludes this matter, ma'am. You're free to go. You have a good day. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Thank you. 2400348 LT Rawsonville versus Britton.
Sandra Cruz on behalf of
I'm sorry, Ms. Kuzi. Same thing, so long as the plaintiff has made service by posting or personal service and mail as prescribed by court rule, the court will grant the request for default judgment.
Yes, Your Honor, we are requesting a default possession judgment. Rent to retain is $1,216.56. Cost of $190.24 for a total balance of $1,406.80 with a writ date after 10 days.
Thank you. 2400351 LT Rawsonville Woods versus Samantha Coleman. Again, Ms. Kuzi, so long as your office provides the proofs of service that show that service was made by posting or personal and by plaintiff mail as prescribed by court rule, the court will grant the request for default judgment.
Yes, Your Honor, we are requesting a default possession judgment. Rent to retain is $1,564.79. Cost of $190.24 for a total balance of $1,755.03 with a writ to issue after 10 days.
Thank you. 2400355 LT Rawsonville Woods versus Tony Davis. Again, Ms. Kuzi, so long as your office files the proofs that show that service was made in compliance with the court rule, the court will enter the default judgment.
Yes, Your Honor, we are requesting a default possession judgment. Rent to retain is $530. Cost of $190.24 for a total balance of $720.24 with a writ to issue after 10 days.
2400357 LT Rawsonville Woods versus David Dorner. Again, ma'am, so long as your office provides the proofs of service that show posting or personal service and plaintiff mail was made in compliance with the court rule, the court will enter the default judgment.
Yes, Your Honor, we are requesting a default possession judgment. Rent to retain is $1,508.52. Cost of $190.24 for a total balance of $1,698.76 with a writ to issue after 10 days.
And then there was 2400366 LT Rawsonville Woods versus Johanna Hartman Bowman. We never got to that case in the original call. There's court mail, but no proofs of service.
Your Honor, for that one, I would just have to confirm that service was completed. But I believe it would be the same, the 26th. We could just pass on that one, Your Honor.
Thank you. And then there is Miss Ellington, I think, waiting to speak to you, and then Mr. Morton's in with someone. The court will be, again, the 11 o'clock call here shortly. So if you and Mr. Morton are able to speak to those people, it'd be greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Yes, Your Honor. Your Honor.
Yes, ma'am.
For the matter for Bowman, I was able to confirm that service was completed on January 26th, Your Honor. Would you like the case number?
No, ma'am. I have it right here. Thank you. Rent to retain.
Oh, rent to retain is $1,770.29. Cost of $190.24 for a total balance of $1,960.53 with a writ to issue after 10 days.
Thank you. Ms. Taylor and Ms. Bentley are back. Ms. Taylor and Ms. Bentley, please turn your video on, unmute yourself. You've had the chance to speak to Mr. Morton. This is 2400345 LT.
Yep.
Did you reach an agreement with Mr. Morton?
Yes, we did. Did
Yes,
you,
sir.
am I still muted? Or? No.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, we were able to reach an agreement.
His associate may have the terms of that agreement and will be able to put them on the record for us. Give us one moment.
Yes, Your Honor, I do have the terms. It was a consent judgment. Rent to retain is $2,660.50. Cost of $248.83 for a total balance of $2,909.33 to be paid on or before February 2024. And they did, Mr. Warren did advise him of their rights under MCR 4.201, and they gave him permission to sign on their behalf.
Ms. Bentley, were you present when the court played the video explaining the legal rights you had available this morning?
Yes, I was.
Ms. Taylor, were you present?
Yes.
And after having the opportunity to speak to Mr. Morton, are the terms that Ms. Kuzi just placed on the record correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
You've agreed to a consent judgment with rent to retain possession of $2,660.50, court costs of $248.83 for a total judgment of $2,909.53.
Yep.
Yes.
Do you have any questions about your legal rights this morning?
No.
Do you have any questions about the consent judgment that will be submitted?
No.
Then Ms. Kuzi's office will prepare a consent judgment with the terms just placed on the record. It will be submitted to the court electronically. I will sign it and a copy will be mailed to you at the address we have on record. Ms. Bentley, do you have any questions before you leave this morning?
No.
Ms. Taylor, do you have any questions?
No.
That concludes this matter. You're free to go. Good luck to you. You have a good day.
Thank you.
You too.
Thank you.
Your Honor,
Yes, Mr. Morton.
I just wanted to check. So Miss Bentley, Miss Taylor came out and that matter was put on the record?
Yes, sir.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Mary Ann, you might want to go help. Hey, have you heard from Mr. Katz? Yeah, Oh, okay. Nope. Okay, thanks. Bye. Give me one moment, Ms. Ellington.
Of course.
Just trying to sneak and get the notes in from this morning. This is a recall of 2400358 LT Rawsonville versus Ellington and Ellington. Ma'am, you've had the opportunity to speak to a representative from Pallett's Law Firm.
Yes,
Was there an agreement reached this morning?
yes.
Your Honor, we did agree to adjourn the matter to February 13. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Ellington, we'll put this matter over to February the 13th at 10:15. Ms. Ellington, was there anything else this morning?
Nope.
Please thank the other Ms. Ellington for her service. I will see you on the 13th.
I will. Thank you. See you later.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
For those people present for the 11 o'clock docket call, please understand that this courtroom will be locked at about 11:15. There will be a short video that plays to explain the legal rights you have available to you. After that video, your case will be called. You will need to state your name for the record. You will be given the opportunity to speak to either a representative from Lakeshore Legal Aid or the attorney from your landlord. Attorneys, if you have filed dismissals and on base this morning or intend to dismiss the case when your case is called, please put that case number in the chat. Defendants or tenants, if you have filed an application for rental assistance, you will have 5 days from today to file a form that is called a DC 539. There's court staff available to you this morning to help direct you to where on the court's website you may find that form and submit it. If you see an invitation to go into a breakout room, please go there. There will be someone waiting to speak to you. If you are driving, stop driving. If you are smoking, stop smoking. If you're eating, stop eating. Again, we will lock this courtroom in about 10 minutes. Everyone who is scheduled to be seen this morning will be seen. This is Wednesday, January 31st, 2024. My name is Judge Martin. This is courtroom number 1. Today's docket is exclusively landlord-tenant cases. If you do not have a landlord-tenant case, you may be in the wrong courtroom. You may send a chat or message to Mary Ann. She will help you get where you need to be. In just a moment, there will be a short video that plays that explains the legal rights that you have available to you in this landlord-tenant matter. After the video plays, each case will be called. When your case is called, you will need to unmute yourself, have your video on, and state your name for the record. Attorneys, if you have filed dismissals in on base today or intend to dismiss the case when it is called, please put the case number in the chat so we may dispose of this matter now. Defendants or tenants, if you have filed an application for rental assistance, you will have 5 days from today's date to file a form that is called a DC 539. There is court staff available to help you locate that form, and submit it to the court. Parties, if you receive a message or an invitation to go into a breakout room, please go there. If you are driving, stop driving. If you're eating, stop eating. If you are smoking, stop smoking. Gentlemen, remove your caps. Mary Ann, please proceed with your video.
Welcome to the 34th District Court. Please listen carefully for information about your rights and resources that may be available to assist you. Please have paper and a pen handy. You have the right to hire an attorney to represent you. If you cannot afford to hire an attorney, you may qualify for legal aid assistance. There may be a representative from Lakeshore Legal Aid available today to speak with you, or you can contact them at 888-783-8190. You have the right to have your case heard in the proper venue. If the property is not located in the 34th District, you can ask the court to transfer your case to the district where the property or any part of it is located. You have the right to demand a jury trial. If you want a jury trial, you must tell the court today or make the demand in writing within 5 days of today's hearing. You can use Form MC-22 Jury Demand and file it with the court. You must pay $50 when you make your demand, or within 5 days of the court advising you of this right. You do not have to pay the jury fee if you have asked the court to waive fees and the court has approved your request under MCR 2.002. If your landlord has asked for you to be evicted from a residential property because you haven't paid rent, you may be able to get assistance from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, MDHHS, a local coordinated entry agency, a housing assessment and resource agency, or a federal Help for Homeless Veterans program. You should have received information on local rental and housing assistance with the summons. You do not need a judgment against you to receive help from the places listed above. A copy of the summons and complaint from your case are enough. If your case is for non-payment and you have already applied for assistance from one of these agencies, be sure to let the court clerk or the judge know when your case is called. You will be required to submit written proof to the court within 5 days of today's hearing. Your landlord-tenant case can be resolved in a number of ways. You may be able to reach an agreement with the landlord by going through a Michigan or local community dispute resolution program. You can find a program at courts.my.gov/CDRP. You may also reach an agreement with the landlord that will mean the case gets dismissed. A conditional dismissal is possible when approved by all parties. You can use Form DC 508, Consent Order for Conditional Dismissal, Landlord-Tenant, and file it with the court. Information about your other rights and the legal process is available through Michigan Legal Help at www.michiganlegalhelp.org. Additional information on legal resources, housing assistance programs, and court forms are available on our website at www.mi34thdistrictcourt.com/department/civil. Thank you for your attention. Your case will be called shortly.
This is 2400422 LT Rawsonville Woods versus Destiny Walker.
Introducing on behalf of plaintiff.
Hello,
Ma'am, state your name, please.
Destiny Walker.
Ms. Walker, have you made an application for rental assistance?
No, but I'm doing that today. I was just informed to do that by the office.
I'm sorry, you were informed to do that by what office?
Someone just gave me the suggestion to do it. I'm sorry when I called in.
You mean when you called into
Today.
court this morning?
Yeah, today,
Okay.
yeah.
Ma'am, your case will be adjourned to February the 13th at 10:15 a.m. You have 5 days from today's date to submit that form that's called a DC 539. When you appear on the 13th, you need to be prepared to provide the court with an update regarding that application for rental assistance. Do you need court staff to help you locate that DC 539 form, ma'am?
Yes, please.
You'll be moved into a breakout room right now. There'll be court staff there that'll help you locate the form. I'll see
Okay,
you on the
thank you.
13th.
Thank you.
Thank you. 2400421 LT Rawsonville Woods versus Nicholas Vercruzzi and Johanna Maggart.
Introducing on behalf of plaintiff.
Ms. Kuzi, the court does not show posting or personal service by the plaintiff or mailing by the plaintiff. There was court mail on the 24th.
Yes, Your Honor, I did investigate this matter and service was completed on January 26th by the court officer. We will provide the proof of service and e-file it to the court, Your Honor.
And the rent to retain possession.
Rent to retain is $833, cost of $248.83 for a total balance of $1,049.16 with a writ to issue after 10 days.
Thank you, ma'am. 2400417 LT Rawsonville Woods versus Brian Steins.
Sandra Kusi on behalf of plaintiff.
Brian Steins.
Thank you. Mr. Steins, have you made an application for rental assistance?
No, I did not have I haven't had time because I've had doctor's appointments and stuff like that. I was going to try to do that today, even though I'm going to be going back to work, but you know, I'm just trying to get this matter at least in the ball rolling as of today. Because I didn't realize I got my summons until Saturday when I walked outside to get it. And I seen it on the wall, not on my door, so.
Mr. Steins,
Yes, ma'am.
the court will adjourn this matter over to February the 13th at 10:15 a.m. You will have 5 days from today's date to file that form, that DC 539. When you
Okay.
reappear on the 13th at 10:15 a.m., please be prepared to provide the court an update regarding the status of your application for rental assistance. Sir, do you need court help in moving and locating that form, that's DC 539?
Yes, ma'am, that would be helpful, please.
Then you'll see an invitation to go into a breakout room. There will be court staff there to help you locate that form, okay?
Okay,
2400416 LT Rawsonville Woods versus Patrice Stevenson McGee.
Sandra Kusi on behalf of plaintiff.
Patricia Stevenson McGee. I see the defendant. She is not responding. We will pass to 2400407 LT Rawsonville Woods versus Latrice Moore.
Sandra Kusi on behalf of plaintiff.
You're muted, ma'am.
I'm sorry, Your Honor. Sandra Kusi on behalf of plaintiff.
Ms. Moore?
Yes. Oh, can you hear me?
Please state your name. Yes, ma'am.
Latrice Moore.
Ms. Moore, have you made an application for rental assistance?
No, ma'am. I paid the rent on the 15th.
Ms. Kuzi?
Your Honor, we'll be moving to have this matter dismissed without prejudice. However, I do show there's a small balance of $22.76, but we would still be moving forward to dismiss this matter.
Ms. Moore, this matter will be dismissed. Do you have any questions this morning?
No, ma'am.
Thank you. You're free to go. You have a good day.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you. This is a recall of 2400416 Rawsonville Woods versus Patricia Stevenson McGee.
I am here. This is Patricia Stevenson -McGee.
Ma'am, have you made an application for rental assistance?
I have not. I had an agreement that I would pay last month and this month today. I'm just at work and it won't let me do it online. So I have to go to the bank and physically take it to them.
You made that agreement with whom, ma'am?
The community. I just got the
Ms.
summons.
Stevenson,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry, ma'am. I was going to say we'll adjourn this matter over to February 13th at 10:15 a.m. If it's paid before that date, the plaintiff's office will file a dismissal of the matter.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Was there something else, Ms. Kuzi?
No, Your Honor, I was going to request an adjournment if she was going to pay that balance today.
I have it today. I've talked to the office. It won't let me do it online. I'm in a school setting and with the snow, I had a plumbing accident back up in my house. So I explained that. And
Understood, ma'am. We'll adjourn it over to the 13th at 10:15 a.m. Court staff will mail you notice. Good luck with the flood.
thank you.
2400403 LT Rawsonville Woods versus Mayberry and Mayberry.
Sandra Kuzi on behalf of the plaintiff.
You're right, Mayberry.
Mr. Mayberry, you were already in the session when I said take your caps off, please. Thank you.
I'm sorry, I'm outside and it's cold, ma'am. I'm at work.
I understand. Oh, if that's, then we'll remove you from this session. This is court.
Give me a second. Let
You
me
were
get in the
inside a
building.
moment ago. Ma'am, state
Yes,
your name for the
ma'am, but
record.
I still have to do work. I'm sorry.
I'm Monica Mayberry.
Thank you. Ms. Mayberry, the way court staff have you labeled indicate that you've been denied rental assistance. Is that correct?
Yeah, I believe so. I don't remember. I'm trying to take
Yes, we were denied, but this rent's been taken care of. It was for December of last year.
Ms. Kuzi?
Your Honor, I still show a balance, the total balance that's due and owing with court costs of $1,928.35.
Is
Ms.
that
Mayberry, would you
for
like
December
the opportunity?
2023?
I'm sorry, ma'am, what were you saying?
I was asking her if that was the balance for December 2023.
Ms. Mayberry, this case was filed on January 17th. What I was starting to ask is, would you like the opportunity to speak to Lakeshore Legal Aid?
Sure.
Then we'll move both Mayberrys into a breakout room with Mr. George, please, and thank you. 2400399 LT Rawsonville Woods versus Savannah Luke.
Sandra Kuzi on behalf of the plaintiff.
Ms. Kuzi, the court does not show posting, personal service, or mail by the plaintiff. There is a court mail from January 23rd. How are we proceeding this morning?
Yes, Your Honor, we'd be requesting a default possession judgment. Rent to retain is $1,182.76. Cost of $248.83 for a total balance of $1,431.59 for the writ to issue after 10 days, and we will e-file the proof of service with the court, Your Honor.
Thank you, ma'am. 2400402 LT Rawsonville Woods versus Chelsea Martinez and Carissa Holt. This case was scheduled at 11 o'clock. It's now 11:29 by the court's clock. Defendants are not present, the court shows court mail, but no posting or personal service by the plaintiff and no mail by the plaintiff.
Yes, Your Honor, we are requesting a default possession judgment. Rent to retain is $1,284.06. Cost of $248.83 for a total balance of $1,532.89 with a writ to issue after 10 days, and we will file the proof of service with the court.
Thank you. Ms. Kuzi, the court has indicated previously it will make the blanket statement that so long as the proofs of service that are filed show service in compliance with the applicable court rules, these default judgments will enter. If not, if the service is defective in some way, these matters will be dismissed.
Thank you, Your Honor.
This is 2400406 LT Rawsonville Woods versus Jeffrey Moore. This case was scheduled at 11 a.m. It's now 11:30 by this court's clock. The court shows court mail, but no service by the plaintiff.
Your Honor, we are requesting a default possession judgment. Rent to retain is $780.04. Cost of $190.24 for a total balance of $970.28 with a writ to issue after 10 days.
Thank you, ma'am. 2400408 LT Rawsonville Woods versus Jason Morgan, Hakeem Watts, and Jasmine Morgan. This case was scheduled at 11 a.m. It's now 11:31 a.m. by this court's clock. None of the defendants have appeared. There was court mail on January 25th, but the court shows no mail or posting or personal by the plaintiff.
Yes, Your Honor, we are requesting a default possession judgment. Rent to retain is $1,295.05. Cost of $307.42 for a total amount of $1,602.47 with a writ to issue after 10 days.
Thank you. 2400409 LT Rawsonville Woods versus Keitra Osler. This case was scheduled at 11 a.m. It's now 11:31 a.m. by the court's clock. Defendant has not appeared. There is court mailing from January 23rd, but the court shows no posting or personal from the plaintiff and no mail by the plaintiff.
Yes, Your Honor, we are requesting a default possession judgment. Rent to retain is $1,277.52. Cost of $190.24 for a total amount of $1,467.76 with a writ to issue after 10 days.
Thank you. 2400410 LT Rawsonville Woods versus Bruce Paris. This case was scheduled at 11 a.m. It's now 11:32 a.m. by this court's clock. The court shows court mail, but no posting or personal by the plaintiff.
Yes,
and
Your Honor,
no
we
mail
are.
by the plaintiff.
I'm sorry, Your Honor. We are
You're fine.
requesting a default possession judgment. Rent to retain is $1,067. Cost of $190.24 for a total amount of $1,190.91 with a writ to issue after 10 days.
I'm sorry. Rent to retain possession is $1,067.
I'm sorry, $1,067.
Okay. That math was not mathing. Thank you. 2400411 LT Rawsonville Woods versus Deontay Rayford. This case was scheduled at 11 a.m. It's now 11:33 a.m. by the court's clock. Defendant has failed to appear. The court shows court mail, but no posting or personal or mail by the plaintiff.
Yes, Your Honor, we are requesting a default possession judgment. Rent to retain is $1,589.04. Cost of $190.24 for a total amount of $1,779.28 with a writ to issue after 10 days.
Thank you, ma'am. 2400414 LT Rawsonville Woods versus Anton Richard. This case was scheduled at 11 a.m. It's now 11:34 a.m. by this court's clock. Defendant has failed to appear. There's court mailing from January 23rd, but the court does not show posting or personal or mail from the plaintiff.
Yes, Your Honor, we are requesting a default possession judgment. Rent to retain is $1,527.76. Cost of $190.24 for a total amount of $1,718 with a writ to issue after 10 days.
Thank you. Is that it?
I believe so, Your Honor.
Oh. Hmm. Wait. The Mayberries are in, I believe, with Lakeshore.
Yes, that's correct, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Your Honor, we did not receive a docket ahead of time, so I'm not sure if that was the last call for the day.
Our last, well, we have a case at 1 o'clock, I believe.
Is it a
There's a
first?
singular case at 1 o'clock with Ms. McLemore.
Okay. Yeah, I see that on our calendar. Okay. Will the breakout rooms remain open for a little while so that I can give advice to the Mayberries?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Your Honor,
Yes, ma'am.
I have no objection to adjourning the matter in regard to Mayberry if you would like us to just have the matter adjourned to give them an opportunity to continue speaking with legal aid.
Have you spoken to Mr. George?
No, Your Honor, I have not. I leave it up to you however you'd like us to proceed. I can wait and speak to him or the Mayberries.
No, I was inclined to release you at about 1:45. Let's see if we can get Mr. George. It looks like he's actively speaking. Let's see if we can get this.
Just don't want to hold you up, so I'm good with that.
I'm putting in the notes from this morning. It's fine. Ms. Poma?
Yes, ma'am.
The court is going to adjourn the Mayberry matter over to the February 13th at 10:15. I didn't want to interrupt Mr. George. We will leave our Zoom open. We will stop streaming and stop recording. We will mail notice to the Mayberries unless we receive communication from Mr. George that he will be filing an appearance, okay?
Yes, ma'am. And you said that was on February 15?
13.
13, 1-3.
At 10:15 a.m.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, ma'am. We'll put you back into that room with him. And then Mary Ann, we will do the following. I'm gonna take this back from you. Ma'am, do you know how to move yourself back into that room? Thanks, Mary Ann.
Yep, you're welcome.